The Edmonton Elks visit the Blue Bombers on Thursday night with a Winnipeg line set at a whopping 15.5-point favorites. Goodness me. All-star Kenny Lawler returns for the blue and gold following a 6-game absence caused by an immigration issue following his, what was it called, Hodge? Impaired driving charge. Though the club is coming off a late collapse against the Redblacks, can the Bombers cover that massive spread?
Yeah, they can. And this is a situation where typically...
Don't sound so bored, bro.
Well, hold on. So the Bombers are coming off a short week, which under any other circumstances, I would say they're not going to cover the spread. It should also be noted that Zach Collaros has struggled previously against Chris Jones' defenses. The worst game I've seen him play as a Blue Bomber took place at Commonwealth Stadium last year. I think he completed 7 passes in that game. With that said, the Bombers are coming off that shocking late game loss to Dustin Crum. They've got a terrible taste in their mouth. They are going to a bye week, and so I could see this as a trap game. But when you add in the fact that Kenny Lawler is coming back, that stadium's going to be electric. The fans are going to be going nuts. I think when you add in the bad taste, when you add in Kenny Lawler, I think this is for sure a Winnipeg win, and I think it's going to be a big Winnipeg win. Granted, I like to eat, but I'm going to pony up to the buffet, boys, and I'm going to eat all 15.5 points, as much as that feels crazy to say. I'm going to take the Bombers to cover the gargantuan spread.
Yeah, it's really funny. I was watching some people make their CFL picks last week, and these two dudes picked the Edmonton Elks. Can you believe this? Oh, wait, that was you guys. Why would you do that? I'm not making that same mistake. Look, Chris Jones may give Zach Collaros some fits at times, but this defense is decimated by injury. Niles Morgan isn't going to be in the lineup. There's no Jamin Pelly to push the pocket. I think Winnipeg is going to eat, and it's going to be the largest blowout of the season against Edmonton.
To be fair, Hodge did say he would hate his future self, and I'll own that one. It was a short week. It was the best chance for Edmonton to get a win, and they messed it up. And the only reason that I would even think about taking these points with the Elks is if I knew that Trey Ford was going to start. Because what happened last week when the Redblacks utilized a quarterback who had dual threat abilities? We saw that with Dustin Crum. I don't have faith that Chris Jones or Stephen McAdoo is going to utilize Trey Ford for the majority of the offensive plays. So I'll take the Bombers. I love that Kenny Lawler's back. He's beloved in that locker room. There'll be a lot of energy. I don't care if it's a short week. The Bombers are back home at IG Field off a loss that they know they should have had a win. Bombers, fire up the plane because they're going to roll.
The Hamilton Tiger Cats host the Toronto Argonauts on Friday, a game that will see rookie quarterback Taylor Powell make his first career CFL start. Hamilton are 7-point home underdogs to the defending Grey Cup champions, who are the league's only remaining undefeated team at 4-0. Can the Ticats cover?
I don't think so. And I know there's a lot of people in Hamilton feeling good about the Tiger Cats and James Butler after that win over Edmonton, but it's the Elks, okay? The rest of the CFL's 8 teams are playing professional football right now. The Elks simply are not. So I will take Swag Kelly. I will take DeMonte Coxey. I will take AJ Ouellette running the football, Andrew Harris, all those guys going down there to get a win in a big-time rivalry game, because they dominated the Tiger Cats on their home field when Bo Levi Mitchell played the majority of that game. And yes, he was throwing interceptions, but a rookie in his first CFL start against Corey Mace's defense, and I only have to lay a touchdown, sign me up for the Boatman.
I'm going to roll with the Argonauts here as well. I think that Corey Mace's defense has flown under the radar with everybody talking about Chad Kelly this, Chad Kelly that. I think that Taylor Powell looked very good last week, but he did so in very limited fashion. He only threw 4 pass attempts, albeit one of them was a sweet touchdown at Commonwealth Stadium. I think Taylor Powell, I watched his media availability. I think that he has said a lot of the right things. I like his confidence coming into this game, but you are asking him to do a lot in a very short amount of time. It should be noted that the Ticats won and covered the spread twice in 2021 with David Watford as quarterback. So part of me wants to roll with them just to see if they could do it again. But it's only a touchdown. I think that the Argonauts are going to be able to win and cover here against the rookie quarterback.
I urge anyone listening, jump on this spread right now because it's not big enough, in my opinion. Taylor Powell, yeah, he looked good on 4 throws at the end of that last game. He's a third string quarterback in his first career start, and a guy who wasn't necessarily a world beater in college, right? Dustin Crum was the MAC MVP. Taylor Powell was just another guy in that same conference. I think the Toronto Argonauts are going to wipe the field with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Chad Kelly right now might be the best quarterback in the CFL. Taylor Powell isn't even in the top 12.
The BC Lions are 10-point favorites against the Saskatchewan Roughriders on Saturday following a potential season-ending injury to Trevor Harris. The Lions are rested coming off a bye, and the upper deck is open as the club is expecting a healthy hometown crowd in Vancouver, with a Lions roar at home.
It's unfortunate that there is these big spreads after a week that was so exciting last week, but the Saskatchewan Roughriders have Mason Fine at quarterback, and they're going up against what is the best defense in the CFL with Matthew Betts coming off the edge against a busted up Riders O-line and an inexperienced guy behind center. Ryan Phillips is going to have the perfect game plan, and the Riders offense is going to really struggle. I'm taking BC, and I'm taking all those points. I'd be comfortable no matter what this line is.
The key for me in this game is the lack of a pass rush, especially from the Roughriders defensive line going against a guy like Vernon Adams Jr., who's made some dope dot throws this year. So I love the Lions at home, coming off a bye with all those targets that he had and the way that veteran defense is playing. I think they'll take that energy from this big hometown crowd and use that to cover the spread.
To me, I will roll with the Lions here, and that is not a reflection on the fact that I think Mason Fine is a poor quarterback, because I do think he's going to take some steps here. But the Lions, they had an opportunity to keep their undefeated streak going. They took the loss. I don't think they're going to make the same mistake this time and go down to 2 losses with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They are a motivated team. They want to keep that top spot in the West. I don't think they're going to make any mistakes here. I'll roll with BC despite the points.
Calgary are 5.5-point favorites at home against the sensation Dustin Crum and the Redblacks. These two teams met at TD Place in week 2. A game the Stampeders won 26-15, but way back then Crum wasn't the starter. Both teams are coming off key wins and aiming to get back to 500 with matching 2 and 3 records. Hodge, can Ottawa get an upset for a second week in the row? Ay, caramba.
I don't think so. I think that the Ottawa Redblacks have a lot to be excited about with Dustin Crum. That being said, I don't think that the Redblacks played well at all outside. Granted, Nick Arbuckle wasn't brilliant as the starter when these two teams met earlier this season. If you're not going to win this game at TD Place, I don't think you're going to win it at McMahon. Granted, the Stampeders are 0-2 at their home facility this season, but here with Jake Mayer taking that next step and finally showing why this team was comfortable from moving on from Bo Levi Mitchell this past offseason, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take the Stampeders. I'm happy to take this line up to a touchdown. Beyond that, I would be tempted to roll with Dustin Crum and the hashtag Crumback that was last week's victory over the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. But up to that 7-point margin, I'm happy to take the Stampeders and eat the points. Boys, I'm hungry this week. I'm eating all the points.
I'm out here on the West Coast. The ocean is just outside my door, so I'm getting on my boat and I'm becoming a pirate because I want yo-ho-ho and a bottle of Crum. I am buying into the right quarterback. I loved what I saw in the second half last week. I love his athleticism. I've never been a big believer in the Stampeders this year. They look improved, but I think there's something there with this quarterback in the Ottawa Redblacks. They keep rolling, and I think they pull the upset this week.
Let's go with the Crumb, baby. I think he keeps it rolling. There's a renewed energy around this team. And even though I said earlier that there was a pressure relief there after that upset win over Winnipeg, I think there's some renewed faith in what Bob Dice and this team has going, because the defense has played really well. They just need a quarterback that stopped turning over the football. Now, Crumb did throw an interception in that game, but he did come back and obviously rush for those 2 critical touchdowns, especially that dynamic run in overtime. So I think the value here is on the Redblacks. You're getting over a field goal on the road, and Jake Maier has been meh for me this season. That core the Stampeders have of receivers doesn't necessarily overly scare me, especially with Malik Henry out with injury. I still think there needs to be time there for Jake Maier and Mark and Michelle to develop a rapport. And Lorenzo Malden should be back in the lineup after the birth of his daughter, I believe it was. So I like the Redblacks plus the points.